Hi guys, it's Ona and Giblets, your energy customer service reps from Chicago. This is the episode of Moonshine where we talk about the Cancer full moon. And my special guest, special friend, Dr. Vicky Skirbo is with us today. Giblets was crying, so I thought if he got a little screen time, he might calm down. So thank you for letting him, photo bomb or video bomb moonshines. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm in Biden country.
I know. I
I'm in
know.
Wilmington,
Yeah. That's
hanging out
so
with the Delawareites. I don't know, what do they call themselves?
that's so
Delawareans?
yeah. I love that part of the country because it has history that like no other part of the country,
Yes. Hmm.
That's where like we started to put our hands on the in the ground and build structures and stuff and just like the old buildings. And then it like, it traveled west. So that part
Yeah.
is so cool. I've never been to Delaware, but I'd love to go to all those. I've been to New York and Long Island, New
Have you been to
Jersey,
Boston yet?
Baltimore.
Oh, you have to come to Boston, man. Great food, cute
DC.
boys. That's why
Yeah.
I moved up there, actually. The
I'm too
food
old
and
for
the
cute
men.
boys. So maybe this one here, he'll love me no matter what. I'm gonna try and put him down to see if maybe he won't cry if he sees that I don't have any extra treats for him. Thank you for being patient. Oh my gosh, he's just such a
Well, Jibs is a Cancer, so it's only fitting that he would be here for the Cancer full moon.
exactly. I was just gonna say he did have to, he is gonna have some kind of influence because I do want to pull a card. And he is a Cancer sun. So that's, he had to
As
have.
am I, a Cancer, and you're a Capricorn. I just realized this is us, right? Cancer Capricorn.
Yep.
Wow.
Mhm. So I'll be the sun. I should have once.
And I'll be the moon, which is
Okay.
easy enough because I'm pretty much all I am is the moon, honestly. Just a ball of feelings.
So let's start there. What is this axis? This is the axis of security,
That's right.
right?
Mhm.
So this is what this moon is highlighting on
Yes.
this day, which is what, January 6th. I
Yes.
have 1700 or 1707 Central Standard Time, which is about 5 o'clock p.m. So there's the adjustment on there. But that axis of security is like the focus for this full moon. So what makes us feel secure? Cancer, wait, I'm the sun, right?
You're the sun.
Yes, Capricorn.
Yes.
Capricorn is where the sun is actually up against Mercury, who's retrograde. And
That's right.
I want you to explain that because your choice of word will probably be kinder than what I can think right now because Mercury is
Well,
retrograde.
one of the things that's happening, I don't think I think it's the full, no, we're doing this on the 5th. The
Mhm.
full moon is on the 6th. I believe it's the 7th. We have the conjunction of the sun and Mercury during the Mercury retrograde cycle, which is considered an inferior conjunction. It's also called Cassimi, meaning that Mercury is in the heart of the sun. And so, because it's retrograde and because it's the highlight of the Mercury retrograde cycle, it's the time to really look within for the light to shine. There's something that will be revealed. And I don't know about you, but I've been pulling cards about what's going on with this whole house thing, and the high priestess keeps coming up for you too, right?
Constantly. We were just talking about this before we started to record, and it's to the point where I have to leave the house, like, because the high priestess keeps coming up, and I'm like, okay, if I physically remove myself, maybe I'll come back and pull a different card because it's just spinning around here. Every deck, every card is the high priestess. So we've got some good Venus stuff going on too, right? Venus is at 4 degrees Aquarius. has been pretty kind of quiet.
Right. Venus just came off a conjunction with Pluto.
Yes.
And then she moved into Aquarius, and then she had a nice sextile with Jupiter, which was just in Aries. So there's this new relationship going on with certainly with Jupiter being back in Aries and now going to be moving through the rest of the zodiac. Every time Jupiter goes into Aries, it starts like a 12-year zodiacal cycle. So there's something, it's not quite now, we're not quite there yet, but I think we'll get there a little bit when Venus and I don't know when this is going to happen, so I'm just saying it because I don't exactly know when, but when Venus and Jupiter come together, I'm assuming they'll come together in Aries. That's going to really be sort of the beginning part of this new sort of relationship between the two benefic planets. But the interesting thing about the Venus is, we talked about this before we got on, is the full moon is actually occurring on the anniversary of the insurrection.
Yes.
And Jupiter on the day of the insurrection was at about 5 degrees of Aquarius. So Venus is conjunct the Jupiter of the insurrection.
Yeah.
And at the time of the insurrection, we had Mercury sitting on the United States Pluto at 28 degrees of Capricorn. And Pluto was at about 25 on the insurrection, and it has moved up to that point. So we have the Mercury of the insurrection with Pluto on top.
Yeah.
So there's all of this sort of hidden stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's all, like nobody even knows why the Republicans, the whatever 19 or so Republicans are trying to block McCarthy, because McCarthy gave them so much. He's willing to sell the farm to them. He doesn't care, just wants the power, and they're not giving it to him. And there's something hidden in that. I think maybe we'll find out over the next couple of days what that might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll find out a lot tomorrow. I think tomorrow we won't have a speaker until tomorrow.
If we even have it. I don't know how they're going to do it. You know, and I said this to you before, and I want to put it out there because why not?
Yeah.
There's a thing where if they can't get a speaker, they do something where the person who gets the most votes becomes speaker. And it's considered like parliamentarian. It's almost like the English thing, I think, that they do, where like both sides, it's like almost like bipartisan, having to move forward with both. You know what I mean? Like the leader is a Democrat, and then because Hakeem Jeffries has the most votes.
Yeah.
So he could be the Speaker of the House, but he doesn't have the majority. So he would have to lead without having the majority. And when I looked at the House, I always thought it was going to be the Democrats. And I know when I did it with Mary Ann, it wasn't guaranteeing anything, which is unusual. The cards usually give you some indication, but it just was not. And I really feel when stuff like that happens is we have an opportunity to create something new. We have when the cards are being that ambiguous, we have more power to influence. And so maybe we need to focus on that. Maybe we need to focus on, having it move like a bipartisan, in a more bipartisan way. I was talking to Michael and I said, we should make a blueberry cranberry bread, and we'll call it the bipartisan bread.
Yeah.
Because it's got the red berries and it's got the blueberries.
That sounds really good, actually.
I'm sure he's working on the recipe.
That sounds really good. And you know what? It's a good time to Cancer full moons and new moons are always, I always have an edible, or maybe that's even when I started having a little edible portion on my altar.
On your altar.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we should all make like cranberry, blueberry muffins and put them on our altar. Right?
If I have time to, I could probably do that.
Well, you could buy them too.
Yeah,
even
or I
easier.
could I could go to Mariana's. I actually do need to go out, and maybe I will get that. That's a great idea. They have it to to put purple light. And purple is also a color that's been kind of dominant lately. I did the nail polish when Venus went into Aquarius, I got a pedicure. And I did a purple sparkly swirly color because that was what, that was what directed me. So I think this full moon, even though Cancer is assigned to this area of the body and the rib cage and stuff, there is an awareness that is, and you mentioned that actually in the January Kabbalah, right? For the third eye, the crown, all this is an opportunity to allow spirit, and maybe under the Cancer moon, ancestors,
Right.
to get us to remember how to live with a simpler pattern, closer to nature, making us, in the summer, we know when to plant and stuff like that, but asking them to remind us that the simple things are critically important, right? And the Aquarian things that are coming, the electronic things, our connection to non-tangible stuff, that's great, but we've got to like ground ourselves in the tangible too.
Well, I think that's going to become even more of a opportunity, we could call it, when Jupiter moves into Taurus, which is going to do in May, I think.
Yeah.
So that's a critical time. The other thing about this year is we're in a 7-year, right? So the 7 in the tarot is a chariot, and the chariot is a Cancer card.
There we go.
So we have all this Cancer connection. The United States is a Cancer country, right?
Yeah.
Canada is a Cancer country. So I think these are the places we're going to see maybe something totally new, which to me is great because the old stuff obviously doesn't work. And if we can't get any benefit from having Trump as president for 4 years, it should be that he woke us up enough to realize that we have to have the change,
Yeah. Did you pick up on any stones? I don't want to get you, put you on the spot or anything, but for the Cancer full moon, did you get any crystals or stones?
Oh, I would definitely use Moonstone.
Always, I know Moonstone is great.
Right.
Moonstone, there's one piece that my kid and I always fight over. It's like so supercharged. That's always on everything.
Isn't she a Cancer? Isn't your child a Cancer?
Cancer ascendant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
got fluorite.
Garnet. I've
You
been
like
on my. Well, we have of course we have the new moon. Right? We had the new moon in Cap, and on my altar I have a bracelet. It's garnet and pearls, which is very Cancer Capricorn.
Actually, you know what? This is a good question. What would you bring on your travel altar?
Well, that's a good question.
That's a good question. So,
I'll tell you what, I only brought a few things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With me. I have on something that's called oh my God, what's it called? It's a tektite. It's like a moldavite, but it's not moldavite. It's not found in that area. Where is it found? The Indonesia somewhere.
Okay.
And so it acts like moldavite, and it's called a fire pearl.
Okay.
Fire pearl. Interesting because pearls are connected with Cancer, even though it's not a pearl. It's glass, really. Tektite's sort of like a volcano. It's a meteorite. When it hits the earth, it creates that. So I have that, and I have on. I just brought I have owl earrings that I've been wearing.
Yes. Oh, okay.
With the little peace sign, right? So owls always speak to me of Capricorn, right? The wisdom. Right. They're usually they kind of like old, not that all Capricorns are old, but Capricorn is associated with old. And then I have a bracelet I
Okay.
have this is oh God, what is this? Smoky quartz.
Okay. Oh, you
And
brought
my
the big stuff.
yeah, and my favorite
Imagery.
agate, what is this? Moss agate,
Okay.
which I love, which is kind of Capricornian. I think these two are both more Capricornian in nature.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I didn't actually bring any too many cancery things.
You know
Um,
what I got? That's because I got all the cancery things. See, now I'm the moon and you're the sun. I got fluorite. And I thought how, it's so Illinoisan for me to pull fluorite, but I actually, I mean, it makes sense to me because it's got Cancer is a water sign and it's fluid. I'm just gonna put him on my lap for a second because, oh
yeah,
my,
yeah. Go ahead.
come here, buddy. Come on. Oh my gosh, you know what? You're such a big baby. Oh my goodness. Okay. Remember I said my back didn't hurt? Well, it's about to. Okay.
Yeah, well, how many pounds is he now? Oh, it's up
Probably
into
like
you.
30, 32, 33 pounds. Maybe 35. I don't know. Seems pretty big. I pulled fluorite and I thought, Illinois, but there's a fluidity to it and it's soft and Cancer is the water sign. And I thought, all right. And when I looked it up, you want to read it? You want to read what it says, buddy? It's powers, personal growth, purification. It is related to the elements of earth and water.
Look
And
at
I said,
that.
okay,
See, you
thank
didn't
you.
even know and you knew.
You know what? Thank you, because I've got that cool book that has all those references. So I thought, okay, I'll do a meditation. I've got a bunch of pieces. I had some neat ones, and it is soft enough that it will fade in the sun. It breaks. It's got a scale, the most scale of like 7 or something.
Right.
Or maybe it's the opposite. It's pretty soft. It's a little
Soft, yeah.
spongy. So that is what I'm going to use for. I bet Giblets would love to gnaw on this right now. For my full moon in Cancer connection, right? And
Yeah, I
also,
like that.
I'm glad I'm, actually have them on my lap. I've been getting the flavor of and the obsession with apples
Oh,
for this
he
full
just
moon.
made his eyes just got big when you said that.
I don't have any apples with me.
Oh,
I'll get some later.
well, now it's interesting because apples have salicylic acid in them. So if you have any joint problems, it's anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
And so it's actually it's probably something good to eat. I mean, an apple a day, right? But it keeps everything sort of moving. There's a
And
lot of pectin.
high
It's
in fiber.
high in fiber, and the pectin also helps too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
we're gonna give the full moon, altar some of that. And also I like just the symbolism of it, the whole idea of it. It was grapes for the new moon and now apples for the full moon. And just the idea of nurturing yourself, not just because it's a Cancer moon, but because keep that on the table to always invite sustenance into your house, right? There's a
And
reason
then,
why
of course, when you cut
vegetables
the
are.
apple, coronally, it's not
Yeah.
coronally. If you don't cut it this way and you cut it this way, I think that is coronal. You have the five-pointed star in it, right?
Okay. Yeah. You can do all kinds of cool things with that.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's how I feel like this full moon needs to be honored, with something that, holds you, nurtures you in that Cancer way, and a cup, maybe to have a cup the cups are always water, the Chariot in the Tarot, right?
Right.
those kinds
I
of
might
things.
put a chariot up on the altar as well.
Yeah.
You know, like the card. You could put if you have a chariot, I guess, and it fits on your altar, you could do that. But like just even the card.
I think we used to have one of those like little Sicilian horse and chariot things that
Yeah.
had, was one of those uh Sicilian knickknacks in your house, or
Yeah, wasn't it a donkey though? Wasn't it a
it was
donkey?
probably a burro. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Sure.
Dominic the donkey. Hee-haw, hee-haw.
I do want to
Dominic the
pull, I want to
Christmas
pull a
donkey.
card. I'm gonna pull a
Yes.
card from the Wisdom Seekers deck. Now, I want to again, I've been pulling the same card from this deck, and I had to put it down and walk away because I thought that card was so charged, because I love that card so much. I'm like, that's the best card in the deck, and I keep pulling it. The one that said make your life a walking prayer. I thought that was brilliant, and now that's the only card I ever pull. So, but I'm gonna try and get a different one. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
I have the good tarot in my hand, so.
Okay.
So I'll pull 3 cards for this full moon, and you pull as many cards as, that's just what I'm gonna do. You do whatever you feel.
I want to pull the one card for like the focus, the location, what I need to meditate on. It's easier if I have a launching pad,
Right.
and this card, maybe it is these cards too. They have that fluorite, pale green, maybe that's what's making me
Attracting you to them.
to the fluorite too.
How many decks do you suppose you have?
I don't know.
I think we should all count and see.
I don't know, but I'm going to show you something when we're done here.
Okay.
Star ancestors, hidden secrets, lost wisdom. Look a little deeper.
Oh my
I
God.
pulled.
That sounds like the next 3 days in astrology,
Okay,
right?
perfect.
And the high priestess energy in that.
The high priestess energy, the pyramid.
And Mercury Cassimi in that card. Yeah. Wow.
This is such a cool deck.
Is that the deck that I sent you?
Yes.
They only had one. Otherwise, I would have had one too.
It's such a cool deck. And the Cancer is like the crab, right? It's lateral.
Yes.
The movement. I love it. Yeah.
Okay, let's see what comes up. The Ace of Fire. That's a good one. It's
Nice.
powerful, right? The Ace.
Inspiration.
Inspiration, it's a Leo card. It's in the Tree of Life, it's in the crown, in Kether.
Nice.
Your connection to source. So it's telling us to be connected to source. The 5 of Earth. So I would say through actually let me do that. Here we go.
We're gonna be shoveling snow, guys. We're shoveling snow.
The five of Earth is a change, right? In status of some sort, usually financial, but it can also mean that you move away from having financial things be your primary to having more spiritual things, like looking to spirit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the 5 of Water, so more change. Change of feelings. I can't leave it with that. I got to keep going. Sorry.
5 of Earth.
5 of Earth,
water.
5 of Water. Right.
Capricorn, Cancer.
Capricorn and Cancer. All right, let's see. The Empress. Wait a minute. The Emperor. The Emperor. Isn't that a beautiful card?
So this is allowing your inspiration to kind of guide you.
Well, the Emperor is about taking charge of your life, right? Dominion over your situation. We all have The only power we really have is power over ourselves.
Yeah. And remember, Jupiter just moved into Aries.
Oh, that's right.
You got a lot. Yeah, there was a lot of that Jupiter moved into Aries stuff we had to remember.
And this is the Queen of Air. You see the
Yeah, the
the
owl.
the owl, yeah. So this is wisdom gained through experience and being able to look beyond the emotionality of the situation
Yeah,
to the truth of the situation.
yeah,
The interesting thing about this full moon is it is the axis of the moon is squared by Chiron. So we have a T square
yeah.
with Chiron, the sun, and the moon. And of course, Chiron in Aries is a wound around, knowing yourself, accepting yourself.
Self-esteem and self-confidence.
Right.
So it's a good moon to like wrap up to um announce maybe like your self-confidence to
Right.
start giving yourself that narrative in your head about, you know what, I'm a, I'm as
That
good
you're in
as
charge,
yeah,
that you are in charge of your life. Yeah.
the Emperor's the
And
moon.
you're responsible for your life.
Hmm.
So you can't blame other people for the situation you find yourself in,
Right,
right?
right.
I mean, and we see that with the Republicans and this issue with the House. The only person who's responsible for that are the Republicans.
Yeah.
And the Democrats are just sitting there like this.
Hmm.
Did you see the thing where Matt Gaetz went over to AOC to ask her something?
That
And it
was,
was the big kerfuffle.
I had, you know what, I had either was folding laundry or one of those things that I noted it in my
Yeah.
mental head that I wanted to see the whole thing with pen in hand kind of thing. Ooh, that sound looks like something that I want
Right.
to like really, because this could be that bipartisan thing. This could be that point where we see, can they, the weirdest fish in the,
In the
pond
pond.
get together or be able to talk in a constructive way or banter. I wanted to see the whole thing. I didn't. So we'll see what happens. But what happened? Was it like, is it a spoiler alert? Like, was there a fist
Well, he went
fight?
to
Did the
her.
bouncer come in and
Everybody lost their minds when they saw, right? So then somebody asked AOC, who will answer truthfully, because that's what she does. Whether you like what she says or not is another story, but she says
hmm?
what it is. And I guess Gates came up to her and said that uh, McCarthy was telling the Republicans that he had an agreement with the Democrats, that they were gonna vote him in, and he wanted to know if that was true, and she said absolutely not. So it just, it kind of pointed out that Kevin McCarthy was lying. Like, but why wouldn't he lie? Why? That's all they do. They just lie
Yeah.
and lie and lie. Not all of them, because I think a lot of those people are sort of like, um, they're like between a rock and a hard place, and
And at
they
this
don't want to
point,
necessarily lose their position, but they're not being given any options to do anything but, I don't know. It's just, it's such a
yeah.
mess.
At this point, he has to lie. He's got to reach in a bucket of lies. There's no way that he can promise whatever he's trying to contract to get voted in. There's no way he could produce. I don't think at this point. Like, just go home and eat the cold pizza, Kev.
Well, get Gates.
Yeah,
I always mix him up with the guy who was the subway shooter in New York. Gets and Gates. I get him mixed up. Anyway, sorry. Um, but he suggested Jim Jordan. We know how we feel about that dude, right?
yeah. No, yeah. This is gonna be interesting. I'm not gonna pull a card on it. I think we did, there's a lot of people pulling cards. I'm not going to, I just want to honor the full moon and I want to wrap
Yeah.
up the um moonshine for this month for the Cancer full moon. You guys, I'm always thinking about you. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you soon. And hopefully giblets will have been, past his pity party and
Sufficiently appled by then.
put an apple on your full moon altar. Love ya. Love ya.
Bye, everyone.